Welcome to the RAFT instructional video for Metro Housing Boston. You have completed the preliminary steps to apply for RAFT. RAFT stands for Residential Assistance for Families in Transition. This is a flexible financial benefit designed to assist households who are currently experiencing a housing crisis. The funding comes from the state of Massachusetts, the Department of Housing and Community Development, what we will refer to going forward as DHCD. DHCD provides guidelines to the organizations who administer these funds. We must follow these guidelines in order to assist as many households as possible. In order to access funding from RAFT, Metro will need to build a file with all required documents as defined by DHCD. We will count on you, the applicant, to work with us and provide the proper documentation to show why we need to assist with the payments you're requesting. Each household situation is very different, and the documentation required may vary from person to person. Our goal is to work with you to determine how best to document your requests and get the payment out as soon as possible. Here is what we will be going through. First, the application. We will go page by page, follow along, and you'll have help filling it out. Then I will discuss the required documents. We'll review what every applicant must turn in. I'll next talk about housing crisis. We will review the eligible housing crises and any additional documentation that is required for each. Next, I'll talk about property owner documentation. We will review what your property owner needs to provide for payment. I'll talk about how to submit your file. We'll go through the options on how you can get the file to Metro Housing, and then what to expect after submission. I'll review the process after you send us the application and what to expect for next steps. You have received an email from your RAFT case manager with several attachments. We'll start with the RAFT app fillable. Please open that up or have it ready for filling. I'll be going through this application page by page. Please feel free to start and stop as needed to complete the application. And remember, this is a fillable form that you can complete on your phone or computer. Please complete your name, date, and put your RAFT case manager on the top of this page. Make sure to read this whole page as there is important information. There are application instructions here, but I'll be going through as well. I will also later touch on all the required documentation that you will need. The head of household is the only one who needs to sign this form. By signing, you verify that you understand what you've read and that funding is not guaranteed. The third page will be completed by your RAFT case manager. You can leave this blank. Turn to the page titled RAFT Application for Assistance. On this page, please fill in all the fields using the address where you're currently living. Please include all people who are currently living with you, making sure to answer all demographic information. That includes name, social security number, date of birth, disability, gender, relationship to the head of household, race, and ethnicity. If a member of the household or all members do not have a social security number, please write NA. On the next page of the application, you'll be filling out income for every member 18 or older who has a source of income. Please use a monthly rate. Answer all questions pertaining to your family type, education level, and current housing status. If at any point you're unsure of an answer to a question, please leave it blank and let your RAFT case manager know. The prior housing status is asking if you've been homeless in the past and if you've ever applied for assistance at the DTA. Again, if you're unsure, please let your RAFT case manager know. Please check off the request for assistance you're seeking, but leave the total blank. Your case manager will fill that in when the file is ready to be completed. Check off any other services you're looking for here. Check off the expected outcome, and please provide us an emergency contact. Know that we will not be contacting them unless we cannot get a hold of you. The head of household only will sign the bottom of this application. The next page is the Fair Information Practices Act. Please make sure to read this form and sign that you understand. We will need this signed by each member who is at least 18 years of age. The following page is left blank for staff only, please. The next two pages, invoices and RAFT owner contract, are placeholders for information that we will be gathering from you. The following two forms are releases. Make sure to read each of these releases in completion and sign where applicable. The head of household will sign on the first page, and any member 18 or older signs on the second page. Metro Housing will complete the bottom. This is the same information. Please fill in your name, address, last four of social, phone number. Read, make sure you understand, and everyone over 18 would sign this form. The witness will be someone at Metro Housing. Next is the RAFT participant contract. You can write the date and your name here. Read and understand that in no event can financial assistance exceed $4,000 in a 12-month period. Please check off what kind of payment you're looking for, but you can leave the amount blank and we will fill those in once we know. Make sure to read and ask any questions about the participant responsibilities and other obligations of the participant. You can leave this blank. We will fill it in and let you know the date. Please have the head of household sign and date this form. Next is the RAFT housing plan. Write your name and the date at the top, then complete with your monthly income and monthly expenses. This form will be used to show that the unit you're either moving to or living in is sustainable. In the RAFT housing plan, you will be filling in barriers that keep you from remaining stably housed. Please fill in at least 2 steps for each of the 2 barriers. For example, if a barrier to remaining housed was that you don't get enough hours at work, step 1 could be asking for more hours. Step 2 may be seeking alternate employment. The bottom of this page asks for people in your life who offer support. This can be an agency who you work with, friends, family, or anyone. The support can be financial, emotional, or any way you want to include. The head of household only will sign and date the bottom. That completes the RAFT app fillable, and next we'll move on to the RAFT screen. The next attachment to open up is called the RAFT screen. Please put your name at the top of the page and check off what best describes the reason you're applying for these funds. On the next page, you can leave the annual income blank. That will be determined by your RAFT case manager, as will the answer to question 1. Please answer questions 2 through 12. If you're uncertain of the answer to any, please let your RAFT case manager know. There is a screen score sheet. You can leave that blank. Your RAFT case manager will fill it out. You could also leave the income calc sheet blank. Once you have provided all of your pay stubs or benefit letters to your RAFT case manager, they will be completing this. Next, we'll talk about all of the required documents you'll need to provide. Next, open up the attachment called RAFT Required Documents. This is a comprehensive list of everything we'll need to get from you in order to complete the RAFT application. Do remember that every application is different, and we may need further documentation of certain situations. For starters, we will need an ID for everyone who is 18 and over, and a birth certificate or passport for all members under 18. What we're looking for here is proof of the date of birth. If we don't have that on the ID or birth certificate, or you can't locate those, we can help brainstorm other ways to document this. We will need Social Security cards for all members who have them. Remember, if you do not have a Social Security number, please write NA in the application. Legal immigration status is not required, and all can access this program. If you have misplaced your card, please go to a Social Security office and request a new one. Please send us documentation that you have requested that card. We will need proof of income for all members who are 18 and older. If they're pay stubs and you're paid weekly, we need the 4 most recent. They must be consecutive. If you're paid biweekly, we would need 2 consecutive of the most recent pay stubs. We will also collect benefit award letters, whether it be SSI, SSP, TAFDC, or child support. We'll take any income that is coming into the house. We will need proof for the file. If anyone over the age of 18 does not have income, please sign a zero income statement, which we will provide. For the file, we will also need proof of current housing. If you're housed with a voucher or moving into a unit with a voucher, we will need your lease and we will need your tenant share letter. If you're currently temporarily housed with a friend or family member, please have them write a letter that you're staying there and that you're no longer able to stay. Depending on each housing crisis, you will need additional documentation. For upstream arrears, you will need written proof of rental or mortgage arrears, as well as proof of a financial hardship and proof of sustainability in your unit. A financial hardship is either an increase in expenses or a decrease in income. It has to be proof of which months you didn't pay and the reason you were unable to pay for that month. For families who are facing eviction, we need a copy of the summary process summons and complaint. For families who are doubled up, we need a letter from the landlord or primary tenant explaining that the family must leave. It must include the address, date, contact name, and information of the person writing the letter. We will also need a copy of the new lease or a letter of intent of the apartment that you're moving to. For families in unsafe housing, we need verification of that unsafe housing conditions and a copy of new lease letter of intent for the new apartment. For families facing foreclosure, we need a current mortgage statement and a letter from the lender indicating that the family is at least 30 days in arrears and at risk of foreclosure. For any families seeking utility shutoff, we would need that shutoff notice and current bill. This is some important information regarding the RAFT program. If you do not provide copies of all the required documentations, we will not be able to determine if you're eligible. If you're applying for startup costs, do not move into your new apartment before RAFT funding has been approved. If you move in before RAFT funding is approved, you will no longer be eligible to receive the funds. Additional documentation will be requested once you complete this application. Metro Housing only issues payments on the 1st and 15th of the month. If you are approved between those dates, we will be able to issue a promissory note as needed. RAFT funding is never guaranteed. Know that Metro Housing Boston does run out of funds near the end of June. If your file has not been approved, you will not receive payment. And a special note for anyone who is seeking payment with subsidized arrears. Metro Housing may not be able to cover the full arrearage. We are only able to cover up to 6 months of the tenant portion. Next, we'll talk about property owner packet. Next, we'll go over the property owner documentation that we need. Please open up the property owner packet provided. These forms are only necessary if we are making payments to your landlord. If we're only making payments for utility, furniture, or some other kind of payment, you will not need to have your property owner fill these out. The purpose of these forms is to confirm that we're making payments to the correct person and that they do in fact own the property you live in. We are never able to make payments to someone other than the property owner or property manager. Your property owner can provide the forms to you to send back to us, or they can send them to Metro directly by mail or by email. We will need your property owner to fill out the RAFT owner contract indicating what payments they'd like to receive from RAFT. Please keep in mind that they may not exceed $4,000. Your property owner will need to sign this form. Your property owner will need to provide a W-9. Please make sure that they submit the most updated copy, updated October 2018. They'll also need to submit a proof of ownership, which is explained here. This is how we'll verify that they own the apartment. We prefer to do payment by direct deposit so that checks don't get lost in the mail. Please have your property owner fill out this direct deposit form and give us a voided check. Next, we'll talk about how to submit your file to Metro Housing. Once you have filled out the entire application and collected all of your required documents, you will need to send everything in to your case manager. Your case manager is the person who sent you the questions and the application. If you have access to a printer and scanner, the quickest option will be to email us back an attachment with all of your documents. If you do choose this option, please make sure that you include your name in the subject line of the email. It is okay to take pictures of some of your vital documents to attach to the email, but do not paste them directly into the body of the email. Please do not attach pictures of all required documents to one email, as this may result in an attachment size that is too big and it will not make it through to us. If you cannot send an email, there are a couple other options. You can drop off the whole file at the front desk of Metro Housing. That's 1411 Tremont Street, directly across from the Roxbury Crossing T-stop on the Orange Line in Boston. Make sure to put your case manager's name on the outside of the envelope you drop it off in. You can also mail us the application at Metro Housing Boston, 1411 Tremont Street, Roxbury, Mass. 02120. Make sure to write attention and your case manager's name. You can also fax it to your case manager. The fax number will be in the signature of the email that your case manager sent to you. There is a different fax number for every case manager. If you have an advocate that you work with on a regular basis, check with them. They may be able to help you scan and email the submission to us. After you submit your file, please give your RAFT case manager approximately 3 business days to review what you sent in. Your case manager will reach out to you by email or phone to let you know if anything is missing or needs clarification. You will have 2 weeks to return this missing documentation. Once everything has been received by your RAFT case manager, they will submit it for approval. Approval can take another 2 to 3 business days. Once approved, your RAFT case manager will email you to let you know. Payments are sent directly to property owners and vendors on the 1st and the 15th of every month. And remember, if you have any questions, please check in with your RAFT case manager. Thank you for watching our video.